Hey guys, welcome back to Fleetyards Mission Briefing. I am Captain Foley.
I'm Commander Goggles.
And as always, here on Fleetyards Mission Briefings, we're going to be taking a look at a ship, sci-fi ship, something really cool. And we're going to take a look at it because that's what we do here. We look at ships first time, kind of either first time for me or first time for him, whatever. Sometimes we both know about the ship. And what are we going to be looking at today, Samuel?
Pretty big ship, both in legacy, in stature, and just sort of awesomeness. And we'll see if you agree. It is the UNSC Infinity from the Halo games, introduced in Halo 4. I think Forward Unto Dawn, or at least that was the early Lackey Lockley, so probably just in Halo 4. This is the big brother, big daddy, the big thing of the UNSC fleet, the most advanced thing, and Stuart might say later on a grey brick, but I'm hoping he will not say that, because this is unlike the last time we looked at one of the greyer, brickier ships of the Halo universe. That was a fan model with certain detail. This is the one of the hero models from the game engine, and as you can see, much higher detail, a much newer game. So yes, first thoughts on this design, and if you recall, the other design quite similar in some ways. You know that stylistically, it's an evolution. But what's your thoughts on the UNSC Infinity? Sort of first off.
I get the feeling that humans don't know how to build starships. They just do it because they need to, and they just make it the simplest thing they can do. This isn't necessarily a brick because it's not brick shaped, but this is like a gray peg, a gray bolt, a huge bolt flying through space with antennas everywhere because why not? Antennas make it look like they do things. So, not a super huge fan of this so far. Maybe you'll convince me otherwise, but I just find the human built ships in Halo and certain franchises are just hideous because they just all look alike. It's not bad, I guess.
It has certainly got a Sulaco vibe,
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
but like I say, very similar to Pillar of Autumn. But now, well, I said it was big. How big is big? Let's talk about scale and compare it to, maybe the Enterprise E, Star Destroyer. Maybe let's think on those terms. What would you say, based on this very clearly definable scale of ship?
Yeah, it's
Humans
really
built
easy to
this,
tell
remember?
scale from this.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. The font registry name on the side there. I mean, how big can that be really painted on? Um, I'm going to say something probably along the lines of a Star Destroyer size. It's a fairly big length. It's bigger than Star Trek. Star Trek tends to be a little bit smaller, more conservative, but I think it's at least, yeah, three times as long as Enterprise D. So like Star Destroyer length is what I'm guessing. But there's no reference points here except for the words on the side and the eagle,
Yes.
or and there's no windows that I can see. There's no way to,
Yeah.
windows usually are a good judge of size. This just has nothing, so it's hard for me to say. But I'm going to say Star Destroyer size.
Well, this is a super carrier. So next picture.
Oh, so like Super Star Destroyer size.
And it's funny because we looked at this other Covenant ship in an earlier episode, and that was meant to be the biggest ship of their fleet.
Mhm.
So you can see what they were going for here. Let's go
And
a bit bigger.
yeah, the humans are like bigger's better, and we couldn't build it too much bigger, but let's slap some antennas on it, and that'll really
Well,
increase the length. So when we announce our length to them, they'll be impressed, even though it's just antennas.
and yes, I mean I didn't realize it was this big, but yeah, compared to the Battlestar Galactica, which is also the last hope of mankind, not designed to be the last hope, but was the last hope. And again, we take Star Trek as sort of the prime universe example. It's advanced, it's human scale, it's much smaller, very very advanced. But other sci-fi's do go well and beyond, and like Warhammer 40k is like 8 miles for a ship. That's the absolute exception. Even Star Wars we think was a big universe, but these are the ginormous ships. These are sort of the exception to the rule. So yeah, this is a humongous ship at, according to an amazing book, the official amazing book, 5,694 meters. Pretty darn big. And what's amazing about this ship, and if you want to go to the side view, to give another sense of scale,
Oh wow!
yeah, again, DS9, Vengeance, because why not? And the Enterprise, I mean, the Enterprise it's absolutely huge. This ship was designed to be to jump the technological boundaries of humanity. Facing a threat that was kicking our bum. We both built very small weapons with the Spartans, and this was the in production biggest ship. This ship was so big and so advanced that it pushed humanity to the point where we had a detriment to the war effort for years to move resources to build this ship. But in the end, it served its purpose, because it wasn't just there to shoot things and support ships. This was so big and so developed. This was hopefully, well, if need, a lifeboat for humanity. If Earth did get vaporized, this would be the Ark, the flagship, the last bastion of hope for Earth. So they went that great step forward and that great big leap. Any thoughts on the sort of side view and side different profile, all the details and such?
There's a lot more going on the side than from that initial shot that I saw. So that I appreciate. I do like the fact that, if this was the last bastion of hope or the Ark or whatever, that it makes sense to be so big. You can get a lot more people on board, save a lot more lives. So that makes sense then when you do it that way. If it's just a warship for warship's sake, I think going so big is a little extravagant, but it's purpose, right? So
it does kind of have an Ark feel once you point that out.
Exactly.
Just a little bit. And this ship is so big, it actually is designed to launch frigates. Which makes sense. Cool. And according to this diagram, they drop launch, bays open, and they go...
Well, I'm seeing the TOS Enterprise there, and I'm picturing frigates of the Federation fleet. Like the Saladins and stuff, and see them picture them falling down.
They would not win. I mean, this is still an advanced ship. This is so beyond its own time. This is also integrating technology from other races, because we were learning about them. And apparently one of the later refits, or at least right at the end, it includes we mentioned before to you the Covenant. They pray to an older race that was super advanced. This actually uses one of their hyperdrive engines, slipspace engines, as its core drive that they managed to recover at some point. So it uses another leap ahead's technology to help jump it. So it is truly a step above and is the flagship. Cool. And the next picture, just to show you, also designed to enter an atmosphere and be atmospheric. This is it crashing, but it is also designed to be in an atmosphere.
Damn, that would cause some catastrophe when that hits the ground. I mean, like dinosaur levels of extinction because of the cloud of dust and debris. And anyway, next picture. That's a cool art piece, by the way. I like that last one. But anyway. This one, you get the shot from the back and one big, huge engine. Is that the alien engine you were just talking about, or do we know?
Yeah, subspace engine. Yeah, city-sized engine. It took 15. Cool. Well, this one took 15 years to design, and 1,500 to build because it's so big. It's funny. Cause it does just look like an exhaust, but everything inside of it took 15 years to do. Yes. And that aft piece is just one big aft sensor array, long range, hyper scanning, and lumarity. Don't know. But also the engine unit is sort of plug and play. It's designed to be upgraded, which is part of why it became a even more advanced later on design. The next picture, I really like the bottom of the ship, because it does have this very armored top, but so much function in the bottom. I think it's really sort of elevates the design. It's still a brick, but it has such a functional feel to it. Does that make sense? Am I reaching a bit too much? I'm biased, or do you kind of think, this looks,
it looks not too bad actually. It looks better than, like I said, from the top. But I mean, this seems like something that would fit in the Battlestar Galactica fleet almost, as far as the design elements on the bottom, I think. But it's just the size is just. A little bit jarring.
Just a little fun one. The dome at the bottom, the big ball thing. That's the science labs.
Nice.
Yeah. Why not?
Very cool.
Next picture, I want to point out, this is the Halo 5 upgrade, which actually changes some of the pieces. You can see it's now got an open unit with the blue bits. That's the advanced hyperspace slipstream engine. So that was the upgrade after the fact. But this is it. From the guy who built it, this artwork, you can see it a bit more lit up. You can clearly see now hangar bays at the bottom. The window details now exist. Model I had, limitations, whatever. So this is a lot more alive, and the engines really help. What do you think now? This for you?
this works a lot better for me. Like you said, it brings it more alive, brings it more, punch. You can see the windows. You can kind of get a sense of scale. It just this looks so much better. I mean, it's so much more alive, and yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. This shot makes it look not so much like a brick, a lot more dimensionality going on, a lot more detail, a lot more cool stuff. So yeah, I think this is really cool. I
I
like
mean,
this one.
you kind of break up your mind as well. You see the bottom hangar bays, you say, right, there's the hangar decks, you jump up a bit. Those are the gun turrets, jump up. There's the living decks, jump up. Like it's got
Hmm.
a bit more of a design feel because I do think form follows function design. If you really, if you have the initial shape and like concept it out, and say these are these zones, little bits you add will make a difference to how the whole thing feels. You know, I can't throw gun turrets next to the crew quarters because they're crew quarters. So suddenly now there's areas of fire, and now you've got to think, well, there's levels of thought that you would put into it if it was a real ship, and so if you don't put those in, it feels a certain way. And obviously it makes sense, but this ship is so big, and obviously I said it was a bastion of hope and an arc. It has fully sustainable, hydroponics and crew quarters and everything you need for a self-contained zone, as well as training areas for new troops, new Spartans, like everything built in, which I do think makes sense. The next picture is another view from that front, and again, Greeblies. You can see, I think, some gun turrets at the bottom there. More Sulaco, this view.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that this looks like a lot of other ships from different franchises, just kind of cobbled together, uh, which we don't get from that last view we were just looking at, in my opinion. But this front end just looks so generic and could be anything. So
Yeah. Next view, though, you can see a lot more of the detailing. And again, this model is great for something like this high detail. Because even if, it's not as interesting, at least you feel it's got a presence. Obviously some of those are the front cannons. The magnetic accelerator cannons. It fires max shells, super, just basically just metal, but fired at a light speed, and it rips through things. I guess kind of like the Last Jedi, shooting ships. I'll show it later. But yeah, the next view, because it isn't just about the exterior for the ship. You obviously you walk around it in the game. This is the engine room. At least
cool.
one of them. Big open space.
See,
You wouldn't expect small spaces, would you, for such a big
exactly, yeah.
craft?
And that's one of the things I think, like when I look at ships like this that are so big, when I see the size charts, I'm like, where do you even begin to start constructing ships like this? What's the thought process and where things need to be and how you build it? It's baffling to me. But seeing some of the internals, it kind of helps with that a little bit. You start with the engines, you build around those, and you start expanding out or something. But yeah, the big open spaces make sense in a ship this size for sure. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like seeing that.
How many years to build the beams, the superstructure, just to put the metal and weld them together in the shape.
Yeah.
I mean, by
Well,
the time
even an aircraft carrier, you look at an aircraft carrier and the internal bits, and you're like, how do you begin constructing the ship? You build the hull, the keel first, and then where do you put everything? And then you upscale that bazillion times into something like this, and just my mind just goes shuts down. It's like, how does that even work?
which is why Trek scale
Makes
nice
yeah.
and relatable.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Next view, the hangar deck, or at least these are all sort of concept art, but released concept art. Big hangars. Again, very sort of generic military, and there's one of the versions of the Pelican dropship there, which we'll talk about later, because I absolutely love this design. But yeah, big open spaces, big open hangar, lots of people. Next view, this is the bridge. But since this ship is really a fleet control ship, it's more of a war room than a bridge per se. It controls the ship, but also that big holographic area is to control the battle, is to also just command and control the fleet, the war effort. So different sort of bridge, is not the more conventional. Any thoughts on this design?
Again, this looks standard sci-fi with monitors just placed everywhere. There's nothing really unique about them. I do love the holographic table, but again, that's popped up in so many different franchises as well. So it doesn't have anything unique, in my opinion. And that kind of bugs me a little bit, but I can see why they do it, because it's realistic to what we're aiming for as humans right now, and we can see ourselves getting to this. But yeah, I mean, it's all right, but it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, it's always the tricky bit of if they're trying to say what's realistic, then a lot of designers will think similar lines. If we say just go random and new and whatever, you'll think differently, but then well, how does that work? How does that make sense? You know, different lines. Bit of everything. But the next picture is one of the art pieces from Halo 4, I believe. Just a little fun thing. The big dome at the top, that's actually the Memorial Garden. Because a lot of people died in the Earth Covenant War. So yes, all from the lovely official book, which I absolutely adore. So, are you ready? Launch.
I'm ready.
2553. Hull code in INF-101. Makes sense, Infinity. Special, 907 million metric tons. Yeah. Translight, or sublight. Lots of fun things there. Crew, 8,900 Navy. 1,700 Oni, who are like Special Force, clever people. 480 UEGs. I'm not sure what they are exactly. 24 Swords and Galios, those are, I guess, Spec Ops. 24 Sword and Segalios, they must be Covenant. I didn't realize they were in there. Oh, wow. 8 special asset troops. Troops, 5,400 Marines. Redacted. Oh, so, troops, crew, 5,400 Marines. Redacted Spartans. Won't tell you how many. That's funny. Had to really think about that for a minute. 800 Army. 750 ODSTs, which is Orbital Drop Shock Troopers. 200 Air Force. Lots of armaments. A lot of armaments. Not going to go into that, but hundreds of each. And a lot of fighters. 560 Warthogs. And 10 frigates as part of its armament.
Wow. So the big size is justified for all that stuff, so that's cool.
And just note, I haven't actually played Halo 5, so if it gets swapped and all these things, I don't know anything about that stuff because I haven't played it yet. My fault, I know. But there you go. That is the Halo Infinity famous ship, sort of the new direction of the Halo universe. Very similar to, other Halo ships, and very much the first game ship, but I think that was very much on purpose because that is, that was the best of its time. This is then the new one. So yeah, Stuart, closing thoughts. Have we sort of kept you interested in the ship, and because you were very negative in the very last bit of that Spirit of Fire. So what do you think about the Infinity?
I'm more interested in it, but I don't understand the lack of aesthetics when they design these ships. I mean, other franchises have such cool looking designs, and even just little additions to the ship make such a big difference. And this is just it's so simple, but I guess it goes back to what I was talking about, is how do you build something like this? You don't want to get too fancy or whatever when you don't need to. You just keep it simple, stupid. And that's the way it goes, I guess. I mean, not a huge fan of the aesthetics of these ships, but I mean, that's just the way it is, unfortunately. I mean, I don't know who else would find this really attractive, but we look at so many ships here, so many curvy ships and nice designs and stuff that's really out there, outside the box. This is just so much. Not only is it inside the box, it is the box. So it just doesn't really grab my attention. And it's not that I hate it. I wouldn't have a poster of it on my wall. There's much more better ships to have. Yeah. That's my thoughts.
But you do prefer it to the other brick we looked at?
Yes.
Okay. Well, our first Fleetyards, the Halo
Barely.
1. Oh, man. Halo 1 ship. Fair enough. Well, if you guys liked Halo, and you like all Halo ships, and these new renders of original studio models, because we're going to show a few more really cool things from Halo, maybe even the ground units, because we all love the ground units in the Halo franchise. And hopefully, Stuart will love the Covenant ship so much that he'll be like, Halo, it's awesome, even despite the human stuff. Yeah. And if you want to support more of that, you can either support us on Patreon. A lot of YouTubers use it to support ourselves in doing shows like this. It does take a lot of time, and time is time we can't do a real job in. So if you guys can support us, then we can put the time in to make more shows, better shows, more different sorts of shows, because you want to do new things, support on Patreon or a one-time donation at trekyards.com. You're not just supporting the Trekyards videos, you're supporting the Fleetyards videos, and just the Trekyards channel in general. Very important support if you can. Thank you.
And of course, if you want to join the conversation, head on over to Facebook, join the Fleetyards page for all this kind of cool stuff, all the generic sci-fi stuff, or head on over to Trekyards to check out all the Star Trek stuff if you're a Star Trek fan, and definitely check out those 2 channels. Also, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget the notification icon so you get notified when we upload, because we upload a lot of cool stuff all the time, and you don't want to miss it. And if you do, you can selectively miss it when you get a notification. And of course, share the video around to anybody you think would like it, and just kind of spread the word. And we'd love to see your comments and things down below, because they always make us smile or shake our fists, whatever. But we read them and we do pay attention to what's going on. So anyway, guys, until next time, I'm Captain Foley.
I am Commander Cousins. Bye, guys.
See you later.